Over the past 5 years, the UK has seen a huge increase in the numbers of people with an autism diagnosis. The condition is now a common topic of conversation.
Talking about me here.
It was something I figured out alone.
I went the huge proportion of my life without knowing.
Today, there are more people seeking an autism diagnosis than ever before, and NHS waiting lists are growing. With numbers 5 times larger than before the pandemic, over 170,000 people are waiting for assessment.
It's very hard to get a diagnosis.
Many medical professionals like me can be out of date.
It's really difficult when you're not being understood.
So what does make someone autistic?
So I'm asked all the time, I'm asking right now.
Innovative scientific research is transforming the way we answer that question.
It really is something different about the way your brain's processing the information around you.
Helping us understand autistic traits better.
Sounds are definitely a trigger for me. I don't get small talk.
One of the hardest things is maintaining and keeping friends.
By centering on the experience of autistic people.
It was abundantly apparent that something was a bit different.
This approach is giving us surprising new ways to answer the question people so often ask. My name is Claire Taylor, and I'm a GP working across practices in South London. Today I'm at the Well Centre in Herne Hill.
Hi, Alice.
Yes.
I'm Dr. Taylor. Do you want to come through?
Hello.
A clinic for 11 to 20-year-olds. In the nearly 3 years that I've been working at the Well Centre, I've noticed more and more young people coming to see me for the same thing, and that's an autism assessment. Autism is not an illness like many you would go to your GP for. It is a condition with a huge spectrum that covers a diverse range of people in different ways. So it's not always easy to spot the signs. 18-year-old Alice has been thinking about a diagnosis for months.
I have been told that I might have autism. Like when I read about it and I look at articles and I kind of saw my friends that also had autism, I kind of saw traits of myself in them that made me relate to them.
As a GP, I do not have the specialist skills to diagnose autism, a process that can take several months. We have this questionnaire that we do, but I can offer a pre-assessment to see if they are eligible for a referral. You have to decide whether you definitely agree with it, slightly agree, slightly disagree, or definitely disagree. I'm looking for 2 key autistic traits. The first is difficulties with social communication and interaction.
I do struggle to make friends a lot of the time.
Do you?
So it just kind of feels very isolating because I want to be a part of it, but I know that I may come across as a bit weird.
Secondly, I'm looking for signs of repetitive movements or patterned behaviours.
I do not like disrupting my own routine. A lot of times when I'm doing certain things, I have to do it in a specific order.
But many people sometimes experience things like this.
I really dislike chit-chat because I know it's not going to lead anywhere and it's just very awkward for me.
So what makes them autistic? To find out, you need an in-depth assessment, which is what I've referred Alice for.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Bye.
And Alice is not alone. In the UK, from 2022 to 2023, there was a 50% increase in referrals for autism.
Come in. Hi.
And with current NHS waiting lists, it can take up to 3 years before diagnosis.
See you soon. Okay, bye.
I want to know if there's something more I can do to help people who might be wondering if they're autistic.
My name is Sean Logan.
So I'm reaching out to autistic people across the country
Would you be happy to come and chat with me?
and setting up a space to have these conversations. So neurotypical or non-autistic people like me can get an appreciation of their experience.
Are you comfortable sitting there? And are the lights and the sounds okay
Totally
for you?
fine.
This group does not represent every autistic person, nor cover the full spectrum. Some here have more subtle signs of being autistic, and many have differing views.
I felt quite repulsed at the thought of myself being autistic. I actually celebrated my diagnosis, got a cake, and I celebrated it like it was a birthday.
Their insight is crucial.
How I process emotions is completely different to what even my wife tells me is normal.
This group are very different from what I was taught about autistic people at medical school 20 years ago.
Yeah, that is an interesting question.
I'm just going to be honest, yeah, that's fine.
2 decades ago, my textbooks used language like mental handicap, which is unacceptable today, and described autism as a severely disabling condition with huge deficits, which can be the case, but often not.
My experience of autism was people that had quite obvious high care needs and these geniuses that had super brains, and I wasn't that.
People hear autism, they don't think of people like me. I'm a very articulate, intelligent, mixed race, middle-aged woman, and I don't fit that stereotype of what autism is.
My old medical books also state that autism affects around 4 times as many men as women, which more recently is not what I'm seeing in my practice. To find out why there is such a disconnect, I'm meeting Hannah Belcher. Hi Hannah.
Hiya.
I'm Claire, nice to meet you. An autistic researcher specialising in how autism is diagnosed. I found this textbook that I was given when I first started my GP training, and I was looking up the diagnosis around autism, and it's incredibly outdated.
What that book will be based on is this idea that autism is an extreme form of the male brain. So it's mainly based around autistic boys, autistic men, for example, those kind of stereotypes that a lot of people have still around autism in terms of, lacking empathy, for example, being obsessed with maths and those kind of things.
Research like Hannah's is changing the focus.
So my research looks at the priorities of autistic people, what they want the research to be looking at. We only really understood about autism in females because of the fact that lots of autistic women came forward discussing their experiences. And that's really what pushed the research then to go, hang on a minute, there's all these women that are talking about their autism, but we haven't got the research base for that.
This is something Hannah has personal insight into.
I had quite a lot of classic traits. For example, I was selectively mute, I was very anxious at school. But I think because I learned how to kind of hide and cover up my autistic traits, I think it just never occurred to anyone that a girl could be autistic.
It's now understood that women's autistic traits often present differently.
Autistic women might be able to make more non-verbal cues. They might be better at making eye contact, for example. Autistic women tend to mask more, so to hide autistic traits more.
With a wider understanding of autistic traits, the gender split has now reduced to 1 in 3.
We understand that people are presenting in lots of different ways. It's just a much broader view of what the autistic spectrum can look like.
That was a fascinating chat with Hannah. The bias in the original scientific research has had far-reaching implications that are still being felt today. It's little wonder that more and more people are seeking a diagnosis, especially women, as they may not have been recognised before.
Coming up, does having difficulty in social situations mean that you could be autistic?
Wait a minute, I need to think about this.
More people in the UK are seeking an autism diagnosis than ever before. And the innovative research is expanding our understanding of what makes someone autistic. I have gathered together a diverse group of autistic people. Are you comfortable?
I'm okay, thank you.
To help me understand their lived experience.
Okay, good.
One of the key traits required for diagnosis is having difficulties with social interaction.
I don't get small talk.
I really struggle with contact with people.
There's a lot of unspoken rules. I'm not sure who made up this code or this rule book because I certainly wasn't given the handbook to this.
So one of the hardest things is maintaining and keeping friends for me.
But many people struggle in social situations. If you do, does that mean you're autistic?
You can't really go to a Catholic primary school willing to stand up in the middle of an assembly hall and go, this makes precisely no sense. How did Noah get 2 of every animal on this ark? Get this disruptive child out of here.
I have heard many times from this group stories of being told they are rude or too blunt.
I remember in my mock English language exam, I was told to read a pamphlet about horses and write down everything I had learned from the pamphlet, but I had been obsessed with horses my whole life. So I wrote down, I've not learned anything from the pamphlet because I already knew all these things about horses, which came across as somebody that was very arrogant and very obtuse, which actually wasn't the case. I just didn't understand.
So what's really going on? Well, there is a way to explain, involving an art gallery and some pictures.
Come through, guys.
Musician and comedian Sean and photographer Alex have agreed to analyse them for me. These are well-known and popular cartoons, being carefully recreated in pairs by illustrator Russell Herneman.
These are looking great, Russell.
Oh, thank you.
In each pair, one drawing is a joke, which relies on the viewer understanding what each person in the picture is thinking.
I think the sort of heart of these gags are all the same thing. They're double meanings and ambiguities that you're inviting the viewer to get.
Like this one, the humour lies in understanding that one fisherman is unaware of the other fishing out of his basket. His ignorance makes the situation funny. In the other image, there's no such double meaning. But what will Sean and Alex think?
Like if you were fishing out of the basket, the fish are already dead, so they're not even going to bite on the thing, so it doesn't work.
If you think that's funny, question yourself, really think about it. How do you want other people to treat you? Do you want people to steal your fish? Are you going to have a laugh about that?
From Alex's infallible logic to Sean's deep-rooted sense of justice, they are thoughtfully analysing them.
So, guys, what about this one?
The image is a hold-up, but is it funnier in A or B? What does Alex think?
I don't know why he's doing that.
And if I say to you that he thinks it's a gun in his back, does that just seem nonsensical to you?
Yeah, because it's obviously in England. So it's very unlikely that it would be a gun.
Yeah.
Unless he's American.
Alex has a very literal interpretation, finding no image funnier than the other. But Sean, like me, has chosen picture A as funnier.
It's clearly a metaphor about people's expectations of other cultures, right? Due to this gentleman's perception of these people, how they're dressed and what he expects of them. He's not sure whether that is or is not a gun that's now getting pointed in his back. And so he reacts. This one would get the point across a lot more effectively.
But unlike me, Sean has reached this conclusion with some considered thinking.
I'm 28. I can read a person. I understand someone's intentions and their motives, and I can communicate with them effectively. But that came from a long, long time of studying.
So what do our different responses tell me about autism? UK leading expert in social processing, Francesca Happe, helps shed some light on it for me.
Everybody has a different sense of humour, of course, but what we're trying to do with these cartoons is to tap into mind reading, and mind reading, not telepathy, but just understanding of other thoughts, is what underlies our understanding of sarcasm, of irony, but also of lies and white lies. And in these cartoons, we're particularly often looking at ignorance or a mistaken belief that makes the cartoon funny.
And this might explain why our reactions were different.
We usually find that neurotypical and autistic people have a different response to the mind-reading cartoons because autistic people often don't intuitively see what somebody might be thinking in the cartoon.
Meaning that they can give a more literal interpretation. But in some cases, Sean did choose the same picture as me and was able to interpret what the cartoons were depicting.
A lot of autistic people will be able to work it out through sheer intelligence, and they've learned how to understand other people's thoughts, but they don't get it intuitively. It's more like mental arithmetic.
And obviously we're not saying that autistic people don't have a sense of humour.
No, definitely not. A lot of autistic people have a wonderful sense of humour. And in particular, they may like types of humour that don't rely on mind reading.
Does that mean that all autistic people struggle with social situations?
Well, every autistic person is different, and a lot of autistic people have worked very, very hard to understand the neurotypical mind, and also sometimes to mask their difficulties or to try and blend in. So not all aspects of social situations are difficult for autistic people. It's just that mind-reading element that can be a challenge.
Now, this is just one of the traits for autism, and it can vary hugely between people. And whilst this test is not diagnostic, if you did not understand the double meanings in the cartoons and you struggle to know what people are thinking, you may have this trait. What's clear to me now is how much work autistic people have to put into social situations. Learning how the neurotypical mind works and adjusting their behaviour to fit in can mean they cover up many of their autistic traits.
I'm very conscious of what if I need to laugh at the right moment, if I'm smiling, if I've said the right things, if I've shown the right emotion on my face. And that is a script that's going on in my head over and over again.
Because it's putting on a show all the time. I would get home from work, and I still do, and I'm absolutely shattered.
Imagine having to be a different person in public so much that when you get home, you sit down and try to figure out what is actually you.
Often it's very difficult to diagnose an autistic person, as it can be a very convincing performance, something scientist Hannah Belcher is an expert on.
And what is masking?
So I mask all the time, and it basically means hiding autistic traits, and it's an unconscious and a conscious strategy. It's about the drive to need to want to fit in. I'm masking right now, and I have from when I was very young. I copied my friends, learned what to say. I learned how to kind of make hand gestures at the right time, for example, make eye contact at the right time. So lots of ways to hide the fact that I was struggling in social settings.
I feel like I was masking from a very young age. To be fair, I only knew I was masking once I had my diagnosis.
So how do you know if this applies to you?
Ask yourself when you go into many situations if you are the one that's present or if your presence is an imitation of what you feel like other people want you to be.
If you feel more exhausted than other people from putting on a face, it is worth questioning whether you could be autistic.
It's exhausting because you're basically putting on a presentation that isn't a natural manifestation of yourself. It can lead to serious mental health problems, anxiety and depression, and complete burnout from overusing it over a long period of time.
But even with masking, some autistic people find their different way of processing social situations can lead to negative assumptions about them.
I've had a lot of experience of people thinking autistic people don't have empathy.
I've definitely been told that when people have met me for the first time, that they think I'm mean, I'm not very nice.
Just because I have trouble processing emotions doesn't mean I don't feel emotions. I'm not an alien with two heads.
I have come to meet sociologist Damien Milton, whose innovative research is turning some of these assumptions on their head. There is clearly no shortage of highly charged feelings and camaraderie in this game. And Damien is autistic.
When my son was born and he was diagnosed very early at the age of 2, I started reading up about autism and the various ideas about it. And I quickly started to realise, oh, they're talking about me here.
Damien's diagnosis made him think about how autistic people are understood.
I think it's a kind of misperception that how autistic people come across to outsiders. Emotions, feelings might not be expressed in sort of typical ways, but autistic people have the same depth and breadth of emotions as anyone else.
Damien believes there is another way of thinking about it.
All this deficit stuff, that traditionally has kind of been blamed on the autistic person as something to do with their mind. I knew this to be wrong and the issue to be more mutual in nature.
Damien's theory says it's not autistic people who lack empathy. Instead, it's what he calls a double empathy problem.
I came up with the phrase to try and explain to others what I thought was actually kind of going on. Is it a problem for both parties? If you think of two people from different cultures using different languages, say, finding a mutual common ground might be quite difficult, and you have to be quite humble in your understandings of the other. And there's similar things happening between autistic and a non-autistic person in interaction.
By showing that both autistic and non-autistic people have to work to understand each other, Damien has helped reframe our understanding of autism. What's more, further research has shown that non-autistic people can actually be less empathetic than autistic people.
Autistic children and adults are often deemed more awkward looking, less attractive, less likely to feel trustworthy, give a job to. So, yeah, negative judgments and discriminations very quickly and kind of unconsciously, unfortunately.
Chatting to Damien has busted open the myth that autistic people don't have feelings, but also it's turned it on its head that we as neurotypical people need to have more empathy for autistic people.
So if you think you are autistic, differences in social processing don't mean that you do not have emotions. But you may feel there is a disconnection from those around you who do not think in the same way. Next, could the way you react to sound and light determine whether you are autistic? More and more people are seeking an autism diagnosis and wondering what signs to look out for. It's not always easy to spot autistic traits, but you can be diagnosed at any age.
I was first diagnosed as autistic when I was 16. I'd originally thought I was going to speak about anxiety.
I was diagnosed when I turned 30 after struggling with my mental health for a little while.
I got my autism diagnosis 3 years ago, age 35. Part of me really wishes that I received a diagnosis as a child.
I was diagnosed at the age of 4 because it was abundantly apparent that something was a bit different.
You are autistic from birth. But experts can only diagnose it once they have looked at your history and behaviour over a long period of time, which means most diagnosis happens after the age of 2.
So I was staggered to learn that here at the Birkbeck Baby Lab, they're looking for differences in much younger children.
And today, I'm meeting lead scientist Emily Jones to find out how babies as young as 1 month are giving us new insight into autistic traits.
So generally what we do is use new tools to try to understand what babies learn about their world and what they're interested in, because of course they can't tell us at this age. So we have to find
Emily is hoping to spot developmental differences long before a formal diagnosis is given.
We have one of our families who's just arrived, so if you'd like to come in and meet them, we can go this way.
I'd love to. And so who's this?
Luna.
Hi, Luna. Today, 18-month-old Luna will be taking some tests. She was recruited for this study as both mum, Gloria, and her dad are autistic.
We were very late when we found out, and being part of this sort of thing, hopefully, is to help diagnoses become earlier, and any little traits that are found quicker will help in the long run for autism.
So it's really a positive thing to take part in.
Yeah, very positive, and it's nice to feel like you're contributing something.
Luna has not been diagnosed, but her family history puts her at a slightly higher likelihood of being autistic.
See you guys later.
She'll be tested alongside babies with no family history of autism.
Wow, a lot of tech. So these EEG caps are really tiny. What age babies are you performing these tests on?
So we start from 1 month, and then we see babies right the way up through to when they're 3 as toddlers, and now we've been running the study for so long, we have some children who are teenagers.
Hello. Can we put this on?
The babies do many different tests, from playing to eye tracking and brain monitoring, whilst Emily's team looks for tiny differences in performance.
So these are our EEG nets. It just sits on baby's head, and then we can measure things like how fast their brain responds, what the baby's interested in, what they're looking at, different neurons communicating with each other from different parts of the brain, so we can measure individual differences.
Today, Luna's brain activity will be measured by the harmless EEG net while she watches social stimuli.
Hi, baby. Where are my eyes?
Now Luna's watching some different things on the screen, so we can look at how the different parts of her brain are communicating with each other while she looks at things that she might find in her everyday environment.
Next, the stimuli is sensory, a sound repeating over and over again.
One of the things we've been looking at is how babies respond to really simple sounds, because we know it's really important for your brain to be able to tune out sounds that are repeated.
Luna's results require further analysis, but over the years, data like this has highlighted differences between the babies who were later diagnosed as autistic and those who were not. And it was not what Emily and the team were expecting.
And what we thought we'd find is that we'd see the biggest differences with social things, so faces and people talking. But actually, that's not the case. What we find is that we see the biggest differences between babies in some of the more sensory paradigms we use, which means when we're looking at how they respond to sounds or to noises like this.
These differences can clearly be seen on a graph.
You can see these are the babies who were typically developing, and this blue patch means that their brains were getting less responsive as sounds were repeated, so they were tuning them out. You can see in the babies who later had autism, you can see these big red patches, and that means the brain was, if anything, responding more as the sounds were repeating. So we think this potentially makes it more difficult for those babies to tune out the kind of repetitive sounds in the background that other children might just be able to deal with.
While a sensitivity to sound or other stimuli such as light, touch or taste is recognised in many autistic people, this research with babies so young has contributed to a major shift in thinking, changing some of the emphasis from social differences to sensory differences.
And we've really begun to recognise the impact that some of the sensory differences can have. And they're really early on, long before some of the behaviours that we sort of traditionally associate with autism.
This helps make sense of some behaviour previously seen as socially problematic.
Because if you can imagine, if you find changes in light levels or changes in sound levels physically painful, you're going to find it really difficult in a regular classroom environment. It's not just you being difficult, it really is something different about the way your brain's processing the information around you.
But there is a simple solution.
The easiest way to help children cope with that is to change the environment. So, not have flickering lights and let them wear a different jumper, and really simple things that can just really help.
This research is beginning to be used in schools and eventually could be used to help diagnose children earlier.
Do you want to destroy it? What do you think?
So how's the day been for you, Gloria?
It's been good. We went through all of them, all to the end, and we had a lot of fun in the toy room as well.
Good.
20 years ago when I was at medical school, sensory differences weren't really talked about at all, which seems crazy now, having learnt what I've learnt today.
And it's little wonder that I've heard so much about sensory sensitivities from the autistic people that I've been talking to.
Sounds are definitely a trigger for me. If you're in a shopping centre and there's so many noises and people and things going on, it can lead to panic for me.
They vary hugely from person to person.
I'm a bit sensitive to lights. I have got my special lenses, my coloured lenses, because fluorescent strip lights are my absolute nightmare.
People can be oversensitive or undersensitive or both.
If I feel a label on the back of my clothes, I can't even hold a conversation with somebody because the all-consuming pain, I can't function, I can't speak, I can't move.
If you are sensitive to stimuli such as sounds, touch, tastes, smells, light or temperatures, this could be a sign that you are autistic. But these sensory differences are not always a bad thing. I've come to a recording studio in London to find out more.
Hi, Jacob. Hi. Hi, lovely to see you.
Jacob is an autistic data analyst who has sensitive hearing.
So I think I'm probably a bit more hypersensitive to sounds and pick up on lots of different sounds going on at the same time.
This is a soundproof studio, but what can you hear in here?
It's obviously you talking, and there's a little battery or camera down there that's sort of buzzing away. Your chair keeps creaking a little bit when you keep moving around. Sometimes sort of buzzing in the walls, that's probably maybe electrical wires and things like that.
Jacob and I are about to take part in a series of tests run by cognitive psychologist Anna Remington. They are designed to show how much information your brain can pay attention to.
I think, Claire, you're first, so if you want to come with me to the booth.
Brilliant.
First up, an animal sound test.
You're going to hear a burst of sound that's going to have an animal in it. And your task is to try and work out whether there's a dog or a lion in the burst of sound. But that's not it. At the same time, you also need to listen out for a car sound, and that car's going to be there on half of the trials.
Right. Dog, lion, car. Got it. It starts relatively easy, but over 40 minutes it gets harder and harder.
You all done, Jacob?
Yeah.
And I have a feeling I won't stand a chance against Jacob.
That was really hard. I feel like I was completely inconsistent in my answers.
Next up, party planning, which Jacob did earlier.
Pay attention to the women's conversation, because I'm going to ask you a question about that at the end.
You can listen along with this at home too. Pay attention to the women talking.
Hey. Oh, hi, Jackie. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Charlie. We didn't have it in red, so let's get it in blue. We're going to get it wrapped because I think when's she coming actually? She's coming at 4, so we've had a bit of, we have got wrapping paper. Yeah, we've got wrapping paper. What colour do you think? I think we've got silver in this blue cup. What do you fancy? I'll come over and give you a hand. Okay, we'll go with silver. Right. Got some tape. And what else?
I'm going to ask you a question now. What colour wrapping paper did the women decide to use?
Silver.
Very good, well done. But that's not the real question. Did you notice anything else that didn't quite fit in with the scene?
No.
So you definitely didn't notice that there was someone who walked through the back of the scene saying, "I'm a gorilla, I'm a gorilla."
Absolutely not.
Okay, we'll go with silver. Right. Got some tape. And what else?
Jacob, of course, did hear it, and he's not alone. Autistic people pick out the gorilla around 50% of the time, compared to only 12% of non-autistic people. So how did we do on the first test? The results are in.
Then in the dashed line, we've got the non-autistic group.
The first screen shows the results of a group of autistic and neurotypical people tested before.
And it's how Jacob's results on. You can see in the pink group, you're doing better than everyone else. And there in green are your results, Claire.
Honestly, doesn't surprise me because I really struggle to hear the car at all.
Anna has an explanation for my low score.
Well, what we're measuring with both this task and the gorilla task is perceptual capacity.
This is the amount of information your brain can pay attention to at any one time.
And everyone's perceptual capacity is a little bit different, but generally in our research, we've shown that autistic people have a greater perceptual capacity compared to non-autistic people.
This increased capacity means you can take in more information.
So, for example, when you're doing this animal sound task, having extra capacity is going to be really useful. On the other hand, if you're doing a simple task that doesn't take up all of your processing capacity, having extra capacity automatically processes anything that's going on around you.
This is thought to be why autistic people can get overwhelmed by background sounds.
In a real life situation, noticing lots of other conversations around the room can make it much harder to stay focused on the conversation you're trying to pay attention to.
I think I often find I'm picking up on lots of extra sounds that I don't think other people are noticing.
But once you know, there are strategies to help.
You can add more information into a task. If, for example, you fill some of your capacity with doodling or listening to music, that can actually really help you stay focused because it's filling some of that capacity.
It's been great to meet Jacob today and to get an insight into how he perceives the world, and also to understand how overwhelming that can be at times for autistic people.
Next, repetitive movements and behaviours are much discussed traits. But what are they? And how can they help you work out if you are autistic? I have been trying to get a better understanding of how to know if you're autistic.
I had always known that I was different from a very, very young age.
Social communication is important.
I think I'm often perceived as rude, standoffish. I really struggle to regulate my facial expressions and my tone.
Also, differences in sensory processing.
Sounds hurt to the point that I wear earplugs.
Now I want to understand more about a collection of traits commonly associated with autistic people, known as rigid and repetitive behaviours. Sometimes these take the form of movements, often called stimming.
So stimming also stands for self-stimulatory behaviour, whether it's fidgeting or repeating certain noises, rocking back and forth. It is a behaviour that a lot of autistic people do as a form of self-regulation.
For many, this can help regulate their sensory sensitivities.
Like tapping of the chest, it's just a rhythm to help me sort of like calm down.
And it can also appear at moments of intense emotion, like anxiety or joy.
I've found that I use a lot of fidget toys.
Or can be changed into other behaviours that are seen as more normal.
I just vape. 4 vapes a day. I would rather suffer the physical consequences of that than be seen as different.
Rigid behaviours tend to involve wanting sameness and craving order.
I think it's important for me to have control.
Let's say I'm going to a restaurant, I'm going to look up pictures of what the restaurant looks like, just so that I feel calm when I'm entering into the space.
I cannot live my life without routine, categorising things and systemizing things. It's the only way I can function.
But how do you know if these behaviours are just habits, being organised, or if you are autistic?
Hi Punit.
Hi Claire, lovely to meet you.
To help me, I've rung up Punit Shah, an expert in adult autism, who also advises GPs like me.
What's really fascinating, Punit, for me, having gone on this journey of discovery around autism, is that I really don't know very much at all.
Your experience is very common amongst most of the GPs I talk to. But what we need to do as autism researchers is trying to build a pipeline for how the tools that we're developing do filter into what GPs are able to use, and that in turn will give a toolkit to be able to support your patients.
One of these tools is a brand new 5-minute questionnaire to help identify these behaviours in adults. So let's see how I score.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so do you, for example, like to order items in lines or patterns? Do you repeatedly twiddle items? And do you do things and repeat doing things in a certain way until they're just right?
20 questions later, I have a score out of 60.
My score was 23.
A score of 23 is incredibly low. So that tells you what you're reporting there are sort of common characteristics at the sort of non-autistic end of the spectrum.
But there is another part of rigid and repetitive behaviours that are less easy to quantify, called intense interests.
Intense interest falls under the broader umbrella of rigid and repetitive behaviours, and sometimes what we call special interests.
They're just interests. It's like anybody else, except I just get more passionate about them.
These can be a huge source of joy.
I love ducks. I'm a big Doctor Who fan.
I love tabletop games.
My camera to me is my connection to the outside world, my reason to be accepted.
And result in incredible amounts of work.
Like, I can sit and go... And the reason why I'm able to do that is because of all those 13 hours sitting there with very minimal break, doing it and 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 doing it. I might be playing piano right now, but this skill set can be utilised in anything, any industry, any profession, any practice.
So what's the difference between, say, my passion for travel and an intense interest?
What you're talking about is something that's almost always enjoyable. What they can become is something that feels necessary rather than optional.
This can have different impacts.
There can be positive aspects of intense interests. They can be enjoyable. They can lead to immense expertise, which also means that people with autism can make incredible contributions to society. The downsides can be that they feel tiring in something that you have to engage in.
Punit, thanks so much for talking to me today.
As well as providing a really practical way of helping identify autistic traits, Punit's focus on helping to educate GPs is vital. The reality is that many autistic people still face a struggle for diagnosis, even when they recognise their traits, which can lead to stigma, a poor quality of life, and have a profound impact on their health.
I faced a lot of barriers, mainly with medical professionals not believing me, being turned away, being told that I should just get on with life.
It's become very apparent that your socioeconomic circumstances are entirely conducive to what help you have available to you.
And there are still many cases of misdiagnosis.
So my GP thought I had an anxiety disorder. I'm like, it's not that. Yes, I do have anxiety, but I don't have an anxiety disorder.
Someone who has first-hand knowledge of this is Vanessa D'Souza.
Hi Vanessa, welcome. Come in.
Also known as the Autistic Chef. She has kindly offered to make me a meal which will teach me more about her sensory experiences with food.
I love things that are consistent in texture, so pastas. I really love curries, though I like them very separate.
Her very worst sensation is raspberries.
The hairs on the raspberry, it feels like an animal is in your mouth. The tiny little seeds. When you combine that with the texture plus the pop of the kind of liquid that is coming from fruits, it's just too much. It's too overwhelming.
As a young child, Vanessa instinctively managed her sensitivities by only eating certain foods.
If you ask my parents, I had such a restrictive diet, probably comprising of about 5 or 6 safe foods, most of which were processed. Basically, it ended up with me spiralling either to lose loads of weight or you just completely don't eat at all.
As she got thinner and thinner, her parents became increasingly concerned. How did they manage it?
My parents really struggled. You just feel so guilty when you're not giving them the nutrition that you're told. You know, eat 5 a day, vegetables, fruits. Those are the things that I struggle with the most. And unfortunately, it led to a lot of interventions. I was like medically force-fed at one point as a very young toddler, which is just so dramatic. It's traumatic. Then that kind of led to an eating disorder, which mostly surrounded around my texture issues, really. But yeah, lots of misdiagnosis.
And how did you cope with all of that at the time?
Not very well, in all honesty. It's really difficult when you're not being understood.
On and off for the next 30 years, Vanessa was treated for eating disorders. She suffered poor mental health and a further diagnosis of OCD.
Use a sieve.
It was only after a chance mention of autism from a friend that she asked her GP to look into it.
I went the huge proportion of my life without knowing. And then eventually I got my diagnosis and then suddenly my whole life made sense.
And do you think if you'd been diagnosed earlier as autistic, then you might not have ever been given that diagnosis of an eating disorder?
Without a shadow of a doubt. I think the autism diagnosis gave me the understanding of the sensory issues that I have rather than me having an eating disorder. But also I don't think the knowledge was there 38 years ago, unfortunately. So being a female, it's kind of, well, she must have an eating disorder. When actually it has nothing to do with my body image.
This knowledge has enabled Vanessa to transform her relationship with food. Oh, it smells delicious. And take full advantage of her sensory experience.
My taste buds are so sort of heightened, I can taste the smallest of things. So I would say my food is always seasoned to perfection.
And she's right. It's wonderful to see how Vanessa has been able to make such positive changes in her life since her diagnosis. But her story is sadly not unique. The latest research suggests that as many as 23% of people who are diagnosed with anorexia also have autism, compared to just under 1% who have autism in the general population. This large overlap is also seen in other mental health diagnoses, such as anxiety and depression. But because this is a really new area of research, this relationship between mental health and autism is still not widely studied, and we don't yet know how they impact each other. But by getting an early diagnosis, we may be able to prevent some of those mental health complications in the first place. With society becoming more aware of autism, it seems inevitable that more people will be seeking diagnosis. If you think you're autistic, look out for traits like masking, social differences, sensory sensitivities, and rigid and repetitive behaviours. And whilst lots of us may think we are autistic because we have some autistic traits, it's only when many of these manifest together diagnostically that a person is autistic. And as no one person's experience of autism is the same, it's only by listening to the autistic community that we can come to a place of mutual understanding. As a GP, I'm really grateful to all the autistic people who've spoken to me, especially as many of them had bad experiences with health professionals. They've helped me understand their world so I can better diagnose my patients and be an advocate for change.